wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. Hope you're having yourselves a fantastic morning this morning. That's where you're listening. You're watching live on Facebook.com/live-now-dt, Facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and on YouTube.com/wakeupcalldt as well. Very excited to be here with you inside of the Travel Cafe Kubal studios, and we have an awesome show. Hour number one dedicated to supporting, appreciating, honoring Sean Tucker from Syracuse Orange football history. He's only 8 games into the season, and he's passed 1,000 yards this season. I believe he's at 1,060 coming off of the road win, 41-36 over Virginia Tech. He had already passed 1,000 all-purpose yards a game before against Clemson at home when he carried the ball 7 yards on the opening play of the game that got him 1,002 all-purpose yards at that point. And then he got to 1,007, past 1,000 yards rushing on his 28-yard touchdown in the game against Virginia Tech, also on the opening drive of that game. So he's, I guess he's just accustomed to getting it done early, getting it out of the way early. Opening drive of the game, 1,000 all-purpose. Opening drive of the game, 1,000 rushing yards. He's the first to do it since 2012 when Jerome Smith did it. Jerome Smith will be joining the show at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time to speak about his thoughts on the fact that somebody finally got to that record that he has had here of these last almost 10 years. And we're going to speak before that to Rob Drummond, a very good friend of mine who knows what it's like to not wear 44 and make your own way and pave your own way. So Rob will be joining us momentarily, then Jerome Smith. In hour number 2, you will hear from the 6 new additions to the American Athletic Conference. You will hear from representatives from UAB, Rice, North Texas, FAU, Charlotte, and UTSA as we celebrate the expansion of the American Athletic Conference that used to be Big East football. So we'll get into all of that here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. And now, as promised, Rob Drummond joins the show. Drum, how we doing?
Pretty good. How's it going, Dan?
It's going well, man. And, first and foremost for you and I going into the season, we were on site on location at Cafe Kubal, doing a live show out there in Manlius on 343 Fayette Street. And I kept saying to you, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. And you said, I can't tell you, you're going to have to ask them. And they decided this year, in year 6 of Dino Babers, to finally heed the call from you and I and run the ball. What are your thoughts on the fact that they're finally getting back to something that looks more familiar to Syracuse football?
It's just running the ball just sets the tone for what an offense really is supposed to do. And it puts teams, or especially offenses, in a situation to control the ebb and flow, or control the complexity of the game and how the game's going to play out. When you run the ball, you make a statement. When you can push a team off the line of scrimmage as an offensive lineman and have running backs just drive the ball, or enter face, get 4 yards, get 5 yards, get 6 yards a pop. That's just demoralizing to a defense. Your opponent's defense, and then now you can it opens up so much more, and it gets your team so much more enthused for doing that. So I'm glad Syracuse is running the ball, and I'm glad Sean Tucker. That young man's a breath of fresh air, and a otherwise just what I would call just normal situation that Syracuse is going through right now. And by normal, I mean just what every other team is going through, in college football, which is meaning a downtime. Alabama's down, Clemson's down. We can go on and on and on about the greats. Things happen like that. But it's just good to see this young man going out there and doing things that he's doing, and it's good to see the team going out there and running the ball.
Yeah, and being a former running back at Syracuse, I think it's important to note the fact that you could have wore number 44 and you chose not to. Why did you choose not to?
Because I love being my own individual self. I don't like following in anybody else's footsteps. The thing is, Floyd Little, as was a great mentor and a great friend of mine. But I respect him enough to not want to be able to put myself in a position and have to wear his number. I wanted to make a name for myself. And I always feel the need to make a name for myself. I don't want to live in somebody else's shadow. Every time you talk about Jim Brown, the great Jim Brown, the great Floyd Little, the great Ernie Davis, I can go on and on and on with Michael Owens, and Rob Conrad, all the greats that have wore 44. That's all well and good, but I look at Walter Reyes, and Walter Reyes wore 39. One of my favorite runners at Syracuse, I can sit here and say Joe Morris. Joe Morris wore 47. One of the greatest runners at Syracuse. They carved and niched and carved a place in history for themselves. And I respect that so much more. It's not that I don't respect those guys, but I respect that so much more. I'll always remember, for the simple fact of being a running back at Syracuse, it's a brotherhood. And all those guys would tell you, it's like, it's not about a number you wear. It's about the individual and the performance you go out there and you put on, and wearing that orange. Sean Tucker will always be remembered as number 34 in the hearts and the minds and the souls of people who understand the game of football. They want to attach 44, the number 44 to him for the university, but 34 is his number for Sean Tucker.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, making, and I talked to you off the air about it this morning, is, do you want to wear and listen, I love 44 and I love Floyd Little and Ernie Davis and Jim Brown and Rob Conrad and the history and Floyd is one of my closest friends and will always be, wherever he is in heaven and on earth, he'll always be one of my closest friends and I look forward to seeing him someday when hopefully I'm 100 years old. But, looking at him and looking at guys like Rob Conrad, who I befriended, I appreciate and respect these guys to the nth degree. And at the same time, Sean Tucker, 34, you 36, like you said, Walter Reyes, 39, Joe Morris, 47, those numbers hold weight too. Those numbers carry weight too. And I think in my head, as I told you off the air, how cool would it be for Sean that somebody 10 years down the road, 5 years down the road says, I want to come to Syracuse and wear 34 because Sean Tucker's my favorite player.
Yeah. I mean, it's a respect thing for me, and I respect those, those guys who paved the way for guys like me, guys like Sean Tucker, to go out there and be able to do the things we do. I'd have more appreciation. It's not that I don't have appreciation for the number 44 because I respect it. I'm from Syracuse and things like that. But it's like it's such an overhyped number at this point. It's like I'd have more appreciation for it. So like say this year before the game where they honored Floyd Little at halftime, the last game they played, the Clemson game, I would have had more respect if they had just. They just allowed him to, out of respect to the guys that worn it before, allow him to wear the jersey just for that game, and then donate that jersey to a charity or something. I was like, what a honorable, admirable, position for Syracuse to put themselves in. This young man gets a chance to wear the jersey of the greats. And now it's not just for the university, but it's also for a charity and it's also for a good cause. Also, how much more memorable is that as opposed to being now lumping Sean Tucker, with a group of great 44s. It's just they have to treat it more special than they're treating it right now. I feel they're treating it special right now because it's retired. And I respect that, but you keep telling this young man, you gotta wear it, you must wear it, it's gotta wear it. It's like he knows that, he understands that. He probably feels pressure to do that. But I still always see him as number 34 because if you lump him in with 44, he'll just become a name attached to a number. Because no one will ever surpass Jim Brown. No one will ever surpass Ernie Davis. No one will ever surpass Floyd Little. And those are the greats that wore the number 44.
That coming here this morning from Rob Drummond, Syracuse Orange Football alum and a great friend of mine and someone that I respect and appreciate so very much. And he's here with us this morning speaking on Sean Tucker and speaking on the number 44. And, you brought up a point that I thought was really cool. We brought it up, Isaac Elford and I, in the postgame of the Virginia Tech at Syracuse game where Syracuse won on the road 41-36. We spoke about that. We said, hey, why don't you bring it out and honor, somebody for a game, but it could be anybody. It could be, Andre Schmidt, the moment, in the game that he's going to pass the record of Nate Trout. It could be Eric Dungy in the Camping World Bowl. It could be, a wide receiver that's about to get the most yards of pass, like maybe he's going to pass Marvin Harrison, maybe, whatever it may be. But to honor it in that moment, to say, hey, Sean, why don't you wear it today as we honor Floyd Little? as you mentioned, and we talked about something like that, to bring out 44, but to have it really be Syracuse, to have it be a team number, maybe not just a running back number, but a team-centric number that's going to get a ceremonious kind of return, but something that doesn't have to be there all the time.
It makes too much sense.
Yeah.
It makes too much sense. I mean, I look at things now in this world of collegiate athletics, not just collegiate athletics, high school athletics, and athletics in general. And a lot of things that, leave me scratching my head. I know, and not to get off the subject because Sean Tucker, it's a subject, and we'll stay the subject. But I know Dave Chappelle was one of your. Okay, I get it, but why did you fire Coach Pasqualoni if that's a standard?
Right.
What are you looking for? Let us know what you're looking for. If you want Sean Tucker to go out there and rush for 2,000 yards, all right, put that young man in a position to have a great offensive skill set, but let him know this is a passing team. And you have to, this is a running team. But then you have to recruit accordingly. You're not going to get a lot of wide receivers in here at that point. You know what I'm saying? So there's a whole lot of works and dynamics that need to go in and what Syracuse has to do. If I'm a Syracuse recruit right now and I'm a wide receiver and I know Sean Tucker's on this team, I'm looking at other schools. That's just me being honest.
No, you know what?
That kid deserves the ball in his hand, and I know that. So as a receiver, if I'm trying to go out there and ball out, as we say, I'm not coming to Syracuse.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, and maybe that's what Taj Harris saw. Maybe that was the writing on the wall for Taj. But you bring up a point that I've brought up plenty of times, which is how did you fire Paul Pasqualoni at 6-6? He wasn't good enough. You think about people forget looking at his records, and I'm going to remind you of his records here this morning, if I may, to take a look at what his coaching record looked like from season to season. This is Paul Pasqualoni at Syracuse, and I'm honored that I looked up to him for so long, and I finally got to interview him when he was at UConn, and I was covering the Big East, which was turning into the American. This is Paul Pasqualoni at Syracuse. His first season, 91, Hall of Fame Bowl win, 10-2, 10-2, 6-4-1, 7-4, 9-3, 9-3, 9-4, 8-4, 7-5, 6-5, 10-3, 4-8, 6-6, 6-6. So he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 straight winning seasons. Then he had one losing season and 2 seasons of 500. 11 winning seasons, 2 even, and 1 losing season. Well, Danny was trending downward. I look at this and I say to myself, Dino had 4, and this is not me attacking Dino. I'm stating a fact. 4-8. Right. 4-8, 4-8, 10-3 with Schaefer's players and his golden boy, or Lester's golden boy, I should say, Eric Dungy at 10-3. So 4-8, 4-8, 10-3, 5-7, 1-10. And now this year they're hoping to God to get to 6-6. So I agree with you wholeheartedly that Paul Pasqualoni did it and did it and did it and did it. And they said, you know what, Paul, you're not doing enough. And then Dino gets a raise after going 5-7. And then, believe it or not, folks, he gets another raise after going 1-10.
Again, like I said before when we were talking, what is acceptable? What is Syracuse looking for? I mean, I keep going back to, and you always remind me of it because I know Dave Chappelle is one of your favorite comedians. It's like when Dave Chappelle said in the skit, like with the 15-year-old kid, what is acceptable for being 15 years old? Is it the kid who jumped off a bed, and killed his friend who got life in prison, or is it the 15-year-old girl who basically was a mile away from her home, and wouldn't leave and would escape? They criticized, and made justification of this kid. They tried him as an adult, but this young girl, they said, well, she's just a young child. She didn't have well enough alone, to leave and escape on herself and be on her own. So it's like, what's the difference? What is acceptable? I just want to know, as a Syracuse University faithful, what is acceptable? Is 6-6? Acceptable? Because it just seems like they're chomping at the bit, salivating for Syracuse this year to go 6-6. But then if that's the case, why did Coach Pasqualoni during that back-to-back years get fired?
Yeah. And I've asked that question, Rob. I've asked that question over and over again, and I've said pretty much, I think every season I've said to myself, they fired one of my favorite coaches of all time for going 6-6, and now they desperately just want to get there, and that's good enough. If they can claw their way to 6-6, it's a winning season. They consider themselves to be good, which is ironic because it's not a winning season. It's actually a 500 season. But, for me, I ask myself that question every single season. Why did you fire Paul Pasqualoni? And now you think, now this is what it has to be. Just get to a bowl. Just get to a bowl. Just get to a bowl. But when Paul Pasqualoni did it, think about that. 11 winning seasons, 2 500 seasons, and 1 losing season of 4-8. Dino has had 4-8, 4-8, 5-7, 1-10, and 1-10-3 season with the guys that he did not recruit.
Yeah.
Like, it just makes me stop and sit here and go, what has Dino shown you that Paul Pasqualoni didn't?
You're preaching to the choir. There are a lot of things with Syracuse football I struggle with every single day. Just like that. I'll blankly just be sitting there and, just turn the TV off and just sit there and think. For someone as a hometown kid who put his heart and soul into the university, who tried to do everything as far as community relations, so the city of Syracuse would be accepting to the university, and the university of Syracuse would be accepting to the city of Syracuse. And it just, to me, it's just they do so many things the wrong way, and to not want people who could possibly bridge that gap to show you, all right, how it could possibly be done to be a part of it. It's just, I scratch my head. But I was telling my son the other day, because we were talking about Sean Tucker, and I was like, Raphael, at the end of the day, this city loves me, because not because I'm some arrogant, egotistical, go out there and try and prove that I'm tougher than anybody else, the best person, but because I care. And I care enough to go around and go to the Pop Warner games, go to the high school games, try and make myself a part of this community, because I am a part of this community. There's no relationship between the University of Syracuse and the city of Syracuse at all. Zero. Deion Mattis is trying, and I give him a lot of credit. And I'm going to help that young man as much as I possibly can. But it's just, I don't get it. Like I said before, what is acceptable? I'm trying to figure out what is acceptable. I just not to go off on a tangent, but I'm all right. Like the games I go to, when I was allowed to go on, they always give us passes to really go onto the field. And I went onto the field, and as I walk onto the field, as a former alumni, as a former legend at Syracuse, I said what's up to a bunch of players. They came over, shook my hand, showed respect, told them love, blah, 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 whatever. The coaches I met during that first day of practice that I went to, back in August, said blah, blah. And I remember making eye contact with Dino. And I remember thinking to myself, okay, you have former players coming over here, coming back to help you with your program. And he just waved and brushed me off like I wasn't even there. And I was like, that's his problem. That's what I said to myself. I was like, that's his problem. He doesn't acknowledge the past. That's his problem. And I swear, that's exactly what I said to myself. And he's like, and you wonder why guys are done. They don't want to be. They don't want to deal with the just. It's like you didn't even. I'm not asking you to come over here and make a big deal of myself, because at the end of the day, honestly, dude, let's be real. I am Robert Drummond. I am Syracuse. Are you serious? You're Dino Babers. Once you leave Syracuse, you'll never come back again. I retired and I moved back here because I was born and raised here.
Yeah.
You're just, it's the stepping stone for you. And we, as the citizens of the city, know it. So if you don't want to embrace us, why the hell should we embrace you? Honestly.
No, and you bring up a great point. You bring up a valid point. You bring up a point that you and I have talked about for a while is, how do you build a successful program? And I've talked to coaches around the country about this, and they've said to me, what is he doing? In the sense of he's not recruiting locally, he's not bringing back alumni, he's creating for himself what a coach said to me was a recipe for disaster, and that reality of I don't go out to the games. I don't go see the kids. I don't recruit these kids. I don't call, the former players. I don't have the former players come back in, that we don't have a relationship. How do you get a community to believe in you when you don't believe in their kids, you don't support them? And the thing is, like you and I talked about it, even if you don't recruit them, even if you don't give them an offer, why not just say to the best kids in the community, why don't you just, or to just do it in general, to just say, hey, you know what, tonight's CBA night, why don't you all come out to the game? Hey, tonight's CNS night, why don't you all come out to the game? And do things like today's JD night. Why doesn't JD come out to the game? So that at bare minimum, he at least says what you said he didn't do with you, that he could at least start doing with them, which is, I see you. I recognize you. I want you here. And to have Scott Schwades, to have Tim Green, to have anybody, I mean, for Tim, for goodness sakes, I'm sitting here, and I don't mean this in a mean way, I mean this in an honest way. If Tim Green wasn't sick, I don't think they would have ever honored him. And I
don't think they would have either.
And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, Chris Gedney, they honored him after they fired him. I mean, like, you know what I mean? It's like, tell the story of the truth. Are you honoring these people because of the optics, or are you honoring these people because you appreciate them? And how do you build a successful program not understanding where you came from and who built the foundation that you're on? Dino, you wouldn't have a house to live in if Rob Drummond, Joe Morris, Ernie Davis, Floyd Little, yada, 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 Jim Brown didn't build it for you. If Chandler Jones and Arthur Jones, if Rob Conrad, if Scott Schwades, if this building wasn't built for you, you'd have nothing to be in. The Dome isn't here because of you, Dino. The Dome is here because of them, Dino. The Dome is here because of the people, the 1959 championship. The Dome is here because of what came before you. You can't have success without understanding and appreciating and respecting where it came from. You don't invite Joe Morris back one time in 20 years. You invite Joe Morris back. You leave a ticket at will call every single game, and if he chooses not to come, then he chooses not to come. But if he wants to be there, his ticket's there with his name on it because he's Joe Morris and he deserves it.
You would think, she's like, and to Deion Maddox's credit, it's like, as former players now, we're always getting emails saying, like we have 2 tickets to every single game, and whether it be home game or away, and I mean, like, I don't know, like, the operations going on in there, but I know it has a lot to do with Deion Maddox. Also, the high school coaches in the Central New York area also get 2 tickets to every single home game. But the thing is, though, I mean, I didn't find out about that. I mean, I knew about the tickets for former players, but I didn't find out tickets about the high school coaches until about a week or 2 ago. And I'm like, that's something that should be publicized. At least you're trying. It's like, why get me, like, that should have been like on a media blast, blah, 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 whatever, everyone. But what the problem is there? Again, there's no connection between the city of Syracuse and the University of Syracuse. It's such a disconnect, it's unreal. And someone like me, I could bring them together. It's not hard. I'm from the city of Syracuse. I'm a star in the city of Syracuse, not just at my university. My university is just where I did my work. But I was a kid in a city of Syracuse that did well, that made it to that university. So why don't you use me to help you? I don't need to make my name bigger. For what? I met Dino Favors for the first time. What was their first practice? August 1st, August 2nd. That one day that Deion Maddox asked me to come back for that game and asked a bunch of former players. Ask me the next time when I've seen him again, or I've actually been called to come up there.
You haven't.
Nope. And my former players, we talking chats and everything all the time. They're like, Drum, you think it's optics? You think it's for the media? I was like, you know what? I have no idea, but I'll find out, and I'll know when I get up there. Ask me the same question now. Is it for the optics? Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. What do you want me to say? You can't take away from who I am in the city of Syracuse. So whatever I say about the city of Syracuse University, it's not going to hurt me. It's going to hurt you with recruiting. It's going to hurt you with what you're trying to do for the city of Syracuse. I'm still going to be the beloved one here because I'm someone who was successful here, loved my city, and came back to be a part of my city. I was born in Syracuse. I'm not just Syracuse University. I'm not an outsider that came in and played at the university and just did whatever. I was born and raised here. I went to JD High School.
No,
If I had hair, I'd be pulling it out.
I know, but I appreciate it, and you and I have talked about it. I mean, I didn't play. Listen, I was born and raised here. I came back here to start my company. I didn't play at Syracuse, but between the work that you've done and who you were, and Mike, and I'm not saying this from an ego standpoint, I'm saying this factual. The players that have been on my show, and I tell alumni all the time, there is not a single player that is not welcome on my show. I don't care if you had 1 down, 10 downs. I don't care if you had 1,000 yards. I don't care if you had 4. I don't care if you were the long snapper or the third string offensive tackle or if you were the starting quarterback. You know, and I know that I've had people on this show, and I will have everybody on the show. And if somebody goes, "Hey, would you have such and such on?" I'm always like, "Yeah, give me their number." So, and they thanked me during coronavirus. I had players come on and say, "Thanks," and I said, "For what?" He said, "Because we know that you're our voice. We know that we can come on your show and we can share our message and we can talk about if we're frustrated. We can talk about feeling disconnected. We know that through you, we can get our message out." And so, Rob, I think between the two of us, if we really wanted to establish with whoever the next coach or whatever it's going to be from here, I think you and I easily, because we care about people, could very, very, very easily have a bunch of people together sitting with us because they know you, they know me, and have that open discussion and that open conversation that Orange mattered back then, Orange matters right now, Orange is going to continue to matter, and we need to make that a priority. I can't make Dino care, I can't make anybody care, but what you and I have done is we've put ourselves out there and been very clear about who we are in the community and what we desire to be. It's not for you, it's not for me, it's for them. To me, it's for the Scott Freeneys. To me, it's for, the Jerome Smiths. It's for the Adonis Amin Moores. It's for the Eric Dungies. It's for the Riley Dixons. I want these players to be respected, appreciated, honored, valued, and known. And with you being a former player and me being a broadcaster, it's not going to be hard for either one of us to corral these people together because we do it in good nature all the time, that we would be able to have these conversations and to establish the fact that they want to be there. It's not that they don't want to be. They do want to be. And I think it would be fantastic. If I'm Sean Tucker and Joe Morris and Jim Brown and Rob Drummond and Mo Neal, who, gosh darn it, had 2,500 plus yards, I would love being Sean Tucker and having all the Jeromes. I would love it. And the optics of it for Syracuse should be easy for my next guest, to have Jerome Smith come to the next home game against Boston College and shake hands on the field with Sean Tucker. I did it in 2012. Nobody did it since me. Now you did it, young man. Wow. It's great to shake the hand of the next guy that I passed the baton to. Why is Jerome Smith not involved? This is easy. This is easy. Why do you think Jerome's on my show today? Because I know damn well he deserves to be. So how do they not know that? I don't get that.
Dan, but for me, even in my heart and soul, I used to talk about it with Mo Neal all the time. My biggest thing for that young man is like I said, I'm third on our list. I would love to have him be number 1 on our list. It's gonna be tough. He's got 2 great players ahead of him, but if it dropped me to number 4, it's an honor to drop to number 4 behind that young man. And what do you think that is? Yards per carry.
Yeah.
Yards per carry. If that young man throughout his career, because I'm third behind Jim Brown and Ernie Davis. If that young man can unsupplant me and move up ahead of Jim Brown and Ernie Davis, I was like, you're in great company, young man. Not because of me, but you're in great company because I feel I'm in great company. I won't say I don't deserve it, but it's like I feel like in awe of myself sometimes to be compared, with a Jim Brown or an Ernie Davis. And that young man can put himself in that same situation. And that's what I wish for him.
Yeah.
It really, really, truly is, because I see his work ethic. I see his desire. I see his drive. I see how that young man plays, and I respect that. But to be able to talk to that young man, I can't wait till the actual chance I get a chance to actually sit down one and just talk to him away from football. How's your life? How's everything going on? Do this, do that. Just to talk to him as a human being, regardless of the football player, because that mutual respect will be there. But just as a human being.
Yeah.
You know, who's I played 15 years professional. You don't think this young man wants to find out how the hell did I do that as a running back?
Yeah.
Who's headed in that direction?
I'd love to have you guys talk because I told you I compared you guys together, and
I mean, I've had so many people tell me that. Holy smokes!
No, I've compared you two because he's blue collar, you're blue collar. He's a lunch pail kid, you're a lunch pail kid. He don't care about the accolades, you don't care about the accolades. No. He wants to go to work, you want to go to work. He ain't letting nobody take his job, you ain't letting nobody take your job. He never stops, you never stopped. Like, I saw that I said it at the beginning of the year. I said, Sean Tucker reminds me of Rob Drummond. And that compliment is like, Sean, if you know how I feel about Rob, I got mad respect for you. So, you know, to me, it's like comparing anybody to you, Rob, is my very easy way of saying I hold you to the highest of standards. And so for Sean to look like that to me, I feel like I'm getting to watch one of my best friends run again. So I'm spoiled. So yeah, the day that I can get you and Sean in a room and I can record that, I'm gonna be ready to pass out. Because that's two guys wearing their numbers, making their history, repping about sports, repping about life, talking about where they came from. You know, wouldn't it be nice to know a little more about the man from Owings, Maryland? Wouldn't it be nice to know what is Sean Tucker's favorite movie? What music calms him down? What does he love to do on an off day? Why does his family matter so much to him? Who's the biggest influence in his life? Who does he look up to? Does he have a faith? Does he believe in God? What does he want from his future? How does he define what a good man is? Who's asking those questions? Nobody. But I would love to. I would love to know Sean Tucker more than 1,000 yards. Because I'm going to tell you something. Yeah, Sean's proud of himself. Yeah, he feels good. But you and I know darn well, Rob, that we don't have the relationship we have because I talked about your stats. I want to learn about Sean Tucker, the man, because I want to get to know him while I have the chance to. I don't want to get to know him as a statue at Syracuse someday. I want to get to know him as the guy right now.
Sean Tucker is more than just a football player. That's what I always say to everybody. I'm so much more than just a football player. Get to know me as a person, and I would love to get to know that man as a person.
And coming from Rob Drummond, we always get heated. So, but it's always.
You know, sometimes the truth is real. You know, and it honestly is. You know, you know me. I don't pull punches with anybody. There's nothing anyone can take away from me. The university can't take anything away from me. They could ban me from coming up there for the rest of my life, and I'll still be a part of the city. I'm still a part of the city of Syracuse. You can't take away the history of Syracuse. You know, so if I speak my mind and you don't like it, oh well, that's tough. I mean, I'm not saying anything to be hurtful. I'm telling you the truth and what I see.
Well, some of the meanest people up there have the most access. So. You know, I mean, I think telling the truth would probably be a breath of fresh air. So, you know, and to me, I appreciate what you've done for this community. I appreciate what you do for the kids every day. I appreciate your rap system. I appreciate your training. I appreciate the fact that you got a bug in my ear telling me about this kid and that kid. I appreciate that you made those calls to Randy Etzel and Steve Adazio and consistently, and Paul Pasqualoni, you know, trying to get these kids somewhere, that you told me about Stevie Scott well in advance, that, you know, you speak truth and you care. So from me to you, from a naturally raised in Syracuse young man to another raised in Syracuse, and I'm gonna call you a young man, and I know you're good, but I'm gonna say from a man to a man, from a young man to a young man, that I appreciate and I respect the heck out of you, because you didn't give back to the community then running the ball. You gave back to the community then and now, and you have tried every single day to educate, enlighten, help, and promote the young men and women of our community. And that's going to be more than every single yard that you got, because if you get somebody else to get there, then that is you paying it forward. That is you leaving a legacy. That is you making the world a better place. Some people individually have success and then they die. You have individual success. You're trying to create other people's. You're trying to help other people find their own success, and by doing that, you're creating a culture of excellence. So, from me to you, Rob, thank you for caring more about the community than yourself, and more about this world than yourself. because that is the legacy that you're leaving, not just with your sons, but with all of us. And I appreciate that. With that being said, you got to live another 50 years because I'm spoiled, man. I need my friend around.
You know what? Records are, I mean, I'll say this point. Records are meant to be broken. You know what? But the legacy I leave is what I mean. Like, and even the kids I talk to that I've trained, you know, for the past 20, 30 years. Oh my goodness! And I always ask them, it's like, you know what is it you took from me? And they're always like, you know what? Humility, hard work, always be kind to people, always do your best. It's like, you know what? It's okay to fail. Just learn from your mistakes. And I listen to them just spew up the things that I've always taught them. I was like, you know what? That's what I want to be remembered for. I don't give a damn about the whole Syracuse football and the stats and the 15 years. That's cool, but it's like, you know what? Because you know what? That'll go from generation to generation to generation, because they'll teach the generation behind them the same things that I taught them.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. Why I do what I do.
That's Rob Drummond, Syracuse Orange Football alum, NFL, CFL, and more importantly, and above all things, one of my best friends. Rob, I look forward to seeing you soon. And just as you know, you say one sentence to me, but you're the only person that says it, and it always brings me back if I'm having a bad day, and that's, "What's up, kid?" So I appreciate you, brother, and I thank you so much for all you do, and I thank you for the relationship that we have.
All right, tell Brother Jerome I said congrats, love him, and have a good show.
I will, man. I'll talk with you soon.
All right, bro.
Take care. That coming from Rob Drummond one more time here on Wake Up Call. We'll take a step aside. Jerome Smith up next right after this.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. And welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/livenowdt, and on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. So many different ways to watch and listen to Wake Up Call Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And I appreciate every single one of you that takes the time to take the time. And of course, after you watch and listen live, you can always check it out in the archives available instantaneously on MixLR and on YouTube. Also available to you as an archive on iTunes and Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, and Podbean celebrates over 1,500 episodes of Wake Up Call by going to wakeupcalldt.com, wakeupcalldt.podbean.com, so make sure you check that out. You just heard from Rob Drummond as we are celebrating Sean Tucker this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. He deserves the celebration. He deserves the appreciation. I have said it, and I'll say it again because I'm going to bring Jerome Smith on here in a second. I have been asking Dino to run the ball. Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. Why? Because what does it do? It condenses the clock. It demoralizes the defense. It puts you in a situation where you have some control over the game. You systematically can push and push. And think about that. Yeah, you have a ball go over the top of one of your DBs and you give up a touchdown. That stinks. Okay? But when you have a 5-minute drive and your heels just keep getting pushed, and before you know it, you're in the back of your end zone, that to me is something that does something different. Running the ball and getting those yards, grinding it out, it moves you downfield, it takes more time off the clock, and it makes you be in a situation where you shrink that game to a point where they don't have a lot of opportunities. Teams have done it against Syracuse successfully. Duke, Georgia Tech, Pittsburgh, and on and on and on and on. Last season, that's what everybody did. Liberty did it, Duke did it, North Carolina did it. Sam Howell didn't look like any type of a Heisman hopeful last year for North Carolina. They brought in Javonte Williams in the second half and just threw the ball at him. Run it, run it, run it, run it. And he did, successfully. And I kept thinking to myself, how does Syracuse not take the secret sauce that's used against them and use it for themselves? And here comes Sean Tucker. And I'll paint a little story before I bring this man on the show that I consider a good friend. Somebody that I honor and I appreciate. Someone that I called 3 words Jerome when he was at Syracuse. Because when the camera came on and all the media beehive was around him, he would be very short. Then the cameras would go off and he would come stand with me next to a pole and would be laughing, repping, talking about all kinds of stuff. I appreciate our relationship and I appreciate our bond. I appreciate his confidence and his care in me and his trust in me. And I would like to hope that that's never gone in any way, shape, or form in the wrong direction, because I've always tried to honor Jerome as I do every player. Jerome Smith in his time at Syracuse ran for 2,219 yards. He averaged almost 5 yards a carry. He had 16 touchdowns overall rushing, and he had 1 receiving to go with 161 yards receiving as well. In his season back in 2012, the last season that Syracuse was in the Big East, he carried the ball 227 times in 13 games for 1,171 yards, averaging 5.2 yards a carry. That was the last time Syracuse had a 1,000-yard back, was 2012. And we were in a position where you were kind of dancing with a decade that it's been since the last time a running back's done it. Now this morning, following the game on the road, a 41-36 win over Virginia Tech, I can now say that that decade mark in between is never going to happen, because Sean Tucker got to 1,000 yards and is now at 1,060. He now snaps almost a decade between him and Jerome Smith of not having a 1,000-yard back. And so it is my honor, my privilege, my duty that there should be nobody else on this show on the heels of that than Jerome Smith, to celebrate the fact that the next brother in Syracuse history, the next piece of this Orange Brotherhood, has now come forward and can now say that he's a 1,000-yard back. And so, Jerome, it is so very awesome that I get to welcome you here to today's show, and that you and I finally get to say there's another 1,000-yard runner at Syracuse, and this guy's name is Sean Tucker. How we doing, Jerome?
Yes, sir. What's going on, Dan, man? I appreciate you bringing me on, man.
Yeah,
appreciate
always.
it, man. And like you say, man, this is a huge celebration, and obviously 17 of us have ever had the chance to do it. So, man, it's a huge honor for that guy.
You know, and for you, Jerome, we talked about it before, and you've been clear. You said, I don't want to be the last guy. I don't want to hold on to this record forever. I don't like that there's been almost 10 years in between. Let's go into that a little bit, that you've been, you're not selfish, that you wanted somebody else to do it. You didn't want to be known as the last Syracuse running back to do it.
Yeah, it was kind of twofold for me. So twofold, one part of it was when I was there, 2010, DeLon Carter was a 1,000-yard rusher. 2011, Antoine Bailey was a 1,000-yard rusher. So that was all I knew. That was the standard. That was the standard. If you were number one in that room, 1,000 yards was setting the mark, and then the next thing was going to a bowl game and winning games. And obviously, like I'm saying, once you get 1,000 yards rushing on the ground, that usually transferring, and you guys are controlling the ball. You guys are really running the ball against other teams. You guys are probably winning games when you guys have 1,000-yard rushers.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, were you surprised that in the Dino Babers era, when he came in and said orange is the new fast and yada, 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 were you surprised that there was never a commitment to the run? Was that something that maybe made you a little bit sad or kind of scratch your head that there wasn't really a commitment to run the ball in his first arguably 5 years, if not 4 years and some change?
I think it was something that, he had to just get going. I know he was known for the passing game and putting a lot of points up through the air. So, obviously it's something that every coach goes through, just figuring out what's best for your team. And obviously he's figured this deal out nowadays, and he's got a really good guy carrying the ball in the offensive line. And those guys have been doing a heck of a job making lanes for Sean. And shoot, it's been seeming to work out for him nowadays.
Sit here with Jerome Smith. I played for Syracuse 2011 to 2013 as a running back for the team in 2012. Had his 1,000-yard season. It was the last time Syracuse had a 1,000-yard back until Sean Tucker got there in 8 games here in 2021, achieving the feat on the opening drive of their game on the road in a victory over Virginia Tech this past weekend, which is also my birthday weekend. So I'd like to think that.
Man, happy birthday!
Thank you, man. So I would, I got to celebrate a little bit more in that respect, seeing that happen, and kind of surreal for me that you and I are friends. I respect Sean Tucker, and then to have my birthday and have the game that followed my birthday a couple days later, on my birthday weekend, that I got to see somebody achieve a feat that I didn't know if I was going to see anytime soon, and that it connects back to one of my buddies. To me, it was it was a different moment for me because I respect Sean. I love his story. I respect you. I love your story. And that, I got to kind of live in this world of like, hey, this is my birthday. This is exciting. I was wearing my 44 jersey in honor of another good friend of mine, Floyd Little. So, I mean, to me, I felt very spoiled this week. I don't know how next weekend's going to match up to this weekend, I guess is what I'm saying.
I got you. Yeah, man, I get to be a super fan for Sean. Obviously, being down here in his Baltimore area, he's a Baltimore kid. His high school is right over, probably about 5 minutes away from where the university is. So, shoot, man, I became a fan just watching them over there. And now, shoot, watching them play for the Orange, man, I become a super fan for him.
Yeah, and I love that. And I want to go into that a little bit deeper. Like, some guys, right, they got egos. And they're thinking, like, if there's no 1,000-yard back of the last 9 years, then everybody thinks about me, and it's all about me. It's all about Jerome. You just said, I'm a super fan of Sean Tucker. Why be so excited and so supported? And you had 1171 your season. Do you want him to have more than 1171 this season? Would you like to see him pass even that for you? Like, when you say you're a super fan, how do you choose to be a super fan instead of being selfish? And would you like to see him have more yards than you had?
Absolutely. Let's go win the Heisman. Let's go win the Heisman if we can. I mean, what that does for, obviously Syracuse football and the university, that takes us to the next level. Him having a chance and being in the conversation and being up for the Heisman, I know that'll help those guys out with recruiting. I know that obviously helps with team morale, obviously helps with the belief, that we're going to run the ball. Oh, man, I love it. I think it's a great idea. Man, keep running the ball, keep doing what he's doing. I think he's the first back in college football this year with 1,000 yards. all that stuff helps in recruiting, especially when you're recruiting bigs and O-linemen. Man, that's huge for us.
Yeah, you know, and here, and you just brought it up, speaking here with Jerome Smith on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora in the Cafe Kubal studios. First 1,000-yard back this season in all of college football Division 1A, 130 teams, including the SEC and company, for those of you playing the home game. Sean Tucker, 1,060 yards rushing. Closest to him, Kenneth Walker, the third, who has, at this point, 997 rushing yards. Just to go down the line here a little bit to paint this picture for you. So you got Kenneth Walker, who is there with, I believe, Michigan State, 997. You got Bijan Robinson of Texas with 924. Lou Nichols, the third, of Central Michigan with 915. Sincere McCormick of UTSA with 891. Mateo Durant of Duke, who played Syracuse last year, with 870. Tyler Algier of BYU, who is in a place right now where he has over 800 himself. Let's see here. Tyler has 866 for BYU. DeAndre Torrey of North Texas has 853. Brad Roberts of Air Force has 845. And BJ Baylor of Oregon State has 830. That's your top 10. So, you know.
That's impressive.
It is impressive.
That's an impressive group.
It is.
That's an impressive group, man. Obviously, those first two dudes I'm big fans of. I like watching a big kid from Michigan State. Man, that's a heck of a group right there to be a part of.
Yeah, you know, and as we look at these numbers, I mean, I think it's even more so awesome for Sean Tucker to look at this and say, okay, the closest person to him is almost 100 yards behind him. And then from 1 to 10, from him to BJ Baylor, he has 230 more yards than number 10. So he's not only number one, but he is continuing to extend himself at this point, which has been incredible. And Jerome, can you hear us?
Yep.
Okay.
That's huge for him.
So, you know, for you, Jerome, to see what he has done and to see that Dino's finally committing to the run here, does it help you to, I don't know, kind of exhale the breath that maybe you inhaled a few years ago? I mean, to see that Syracuse is finally committing to run the ball again, does that help you have more peace? Does it help you to sleep at night a little bit better? That we're finally seeing, 4 yards in a cloud of dust as opposed to just trying to get on and off the field in 37 seconds?
It's definitely a lot better. Obviously, watching the games now has less frustration because, man, he's just busting runs. And obviously, Garrett's been making some plays from the quarterback position. So, man, it's been really cool to watch. He really hasn't had that excitement since Dungy was there.
Yeah, you know, and with seeing this commitment to running the ball, I think it's important to state the fact that Sean Tucker, at best, was the fourth-string running back last season coming into the season. He was in a situation where Abdul Adams and Jarvion Howard were number 1 and 2, respectively. They opted out. And then Jawar Jordan Jr., who's transferred out of Syracuse after last season, he was the number 3 guy, and then was Sean Tucker. So there's the reality that we may have never seen this moment because Sean may have never gotten to the field behind Abdul, Jarvion, and Jawar Jordan Jr. There's the notion that if the pandemic doesn't happen, these guys don't opt out, and Jawar doesn't get injured, we don't even get to celebrate a Sean Tucker because he might have never played a down for Syracuse. Does that make it even more amazing, knowing that he's the first 1,000-yard back since you in 2012, knowing the fact that he was 4th on the depth chart?
Man, that's a sweet story. That's a sweet story, man. Man, it just teach you about the business, man. Roles are forever changing. Man, and obviously hats off, and it's a testament to his hard work that he was ready when his number was called. Oftentimes guys aren't ready when it's time for their number to be called, but man, this guy answered the phone call, man. I'm excited for him, man. I know it's a lot of good things in his future, obviously for him and the team, but man, that's huge.
Are you
obviously knowing, because man, I've been in that situation. I've been the 5th string before. I know how it feels. I know some of the some of the thoughts you go through, and some of the being a scout team back, and obviously battling through some of that stuff. That's huge for him now.
Jerome, go into your story a little bit here, and like you said, you know what it's like to be scout team. You know what it's like to be fifth string back. How running back. Bring us into your story and how you rose and how you weren't just, walking into Syracuse as a 4 or 5 star #1 starter from day one. Bring me into that, because I would love to, because I think, not only are you guys both 1,000-yard backs, but you have a similar success story where, you were not a household name and you made yourself one.
Yeah, well, man, coming in as a freshman, man, we had a deep room. We had a really good room. We had DeLon Carter, he was our starter, Antoine Bailey, Tyson Gully, Avon Collier. That was some of the guys that we had in that room. Obviously, we brought in probably 2 or 3 more guys with us, Steve Renee, and then obviously the next year came as a sophomore. We brought in Adonis, and that was just another guy to the room. We brought in Adonis, and the year after we brought in George. So we constantly brought in really good running backs. And man, it was just kind of staying on course, believing in the process. Had some things go my way, some injuries happen, and had to step up for certain guys. And man, it just panned out and worked out for me. In a room full of really good running backs, and it was really a competitive room every year I got there. Or every year there, man, we brought in somebody that was going to push the room to the next point. And the really good thing for us, man, we had a really good running back coach, Coach Wheatley, and obviously Coach Smith that last year. But they made the room compete with each other, and we also made ourselves compete with each other. So it was a really good room for those 4 years there.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, you had to get there, man. I mean, you had to literally go through the trenches, and you had to earn your keep. Sean Tucker, he from 4th string to starter, 5th string for you to starter, scout team to starter. I mean, how cool is that to see those parallels between you and Sean? That not only are you both 1,000-yard backs and you share that brotherhood together, like you said, 17 to do it in the history of Syracuse, but the fact that you guys both did it as players that could have given up. You could have transferred. You could have said, "This isn't, I'm too low on the depth chart. I'm not getting the playing time." Just what it means to you to know that you both came from a place where you didn't even show up on the weekly depth chart at certain points.
Oh man, it's one of those things that, man, I feel where he's coming from. Man, just keep that chip on his shoulder. And everything, it'll pan out for him. The odds, the chips will fall on his lap, and he'll have the opportunity to hopefully play at the next level and, be able to take care of his family that way. But, man, I'm excited for the kid. It's a huge accomplishment. Just keep fighting, don't lose his hunger, man. He'll be good.
Here with Jerome Smith, 2011 to 2013 running back for Syracuse. Here this morning with us, coming on the heels of Sean Tucker becoming the first 1,000-yard back since Jerome did it back in 2012 with 1,171. Jerome, for you, I'm gonna tell you this, because you talked about Sean hopefully getting an opportunity in the NFL in the future. You had an opportunity with the Atlanta Falcons. I remember to this day watching Hard Knocks and sitting there and having you in the room when they were talking to you and made the decision to release you. And I still to this day am like that. That's one of the moments that made me want to cry. I was upset. I was frustrated. But hindsight 2020, I'm going to be real with you. Them Atlanta Falcons need you now, bro.
For sure, man. It was one of those deals. Obviously, when you get into this business, it can happen. And shoot, about a week later, they re-signed me, and I spent the season there, and I spent another half a season there. So it worked out. Had an opportunity to learn from some really good people, and had built some really good relationships. So man, it worked out.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that you never gave up, you never gave in. Now you're training young minds there and young hearts, young bodies. Young souls? What can you tell me about the job that you have right now and how you're paying it forward? Not just being 1,000-yard back for your history in college, but that you're trying to create the next 1,000-yard back where you're at, and obviously trying to build that room up.
Yep. So nowadays I'm coaching running backs at Morgan State down in Baltimore. Man, and like you said, man, the next goal is getting these guys to understand 1,000-yard rusher, what a 1,000-yard rusher does for your team, what it does for the program, what it does for your room. And we haven't had one here since 2014, and that's the last time they won the conference. So hopefully, I hope guys can be able to correlate the two together for me. When you win and when you're winning, you're able to run the ball. Or when you're running the ball, you're able to win some games, man. And I'm a firm believer just in that correlation. Just thinking back to our best years, even at Syracuse, and when you look around college football, when you can run the ball, man, those are some of the better teams in college football.
And do you feel like you have somebody in your room right now that's capable of doing that? How would you describe the running back room that you have right now at Morgan State in Baltimore?
Dan, I got a couple of these guys, man, maybe 3 or 4. I got a really good room. It's really competitive. And day in and day out, these guys compete their tails off, and they know the expectations, and they know it don't just happen. You got to put in the time. You got to put in the extra film. You got to make sure you condition. You got to make sure you take care of your body to be able to run for 1,000 yards and play in all 12 games or 11 games or however many games you play in. So, man, it's a process to it, and these guys are constantly learning the process and getting themselves ready for it.
Yeah, and can you name some of these guys for the people that don't know? I'd love to get some names out here early so we can track them.
Oh, man, I got a couple young guys, Alfonso Graham, Jabril Johnson, Damon Hamler, Kristen Riley Richardson. I got an H-back guy, Romello Kimbrough. He can carry the ball, catch the ball in the backfield. He's doing a pretty good job this season for us. So those are some of the guys that come off the top of my head. Obviously being able to be in that race and competing. And there's some young guys coming up, and they'll be in a fight. And some guys we recruiting that maybe none of those guys have a chance. Maybe the guy we recruit has a chance to do it the next 3 or 4 years. So, man, they know. We always going to roll with the hot hand. We always going to play the best football player here.
Yeah, and Jerome, you not only are the running backs coach there at Morgan State, but the coach ahead of you that is overseeing this entire team is a former very successful collegiate and NFL running back, Tyrone Wheatley. What is it like to go out on the recruiting trail having you and Wheatley on the staff? A guy in Tyrone who's had so much success, and a guy in you that's had a ton of success, and you could talk about being 1,000-yard back, and you could talk about going to bowl games, winning bowl games, and so what is it like to have not one but both of you guys on the same staff? And would you rather just put 11 running backs out there on offense?
Man, it's awesome. It's truly awesome, man. It's truly been able to bounce your ideas or anything you think you've been able to bounce it off of him. But obviously, when it comes to recruiting, we're pretty much going to get running backs that we want, obviously, because we're going to run the ball. You're going to be coached by 2 guys that played in the NFL, did really well in college. He was obviously a running back coach in the NFL for the past 8 years. See Leonard Fournette starting to do some taking off. So once we start talking about Leonard, that usually helps us out a little bit more. But, man, it's awesome, man. He's just always spilling knowledge down to me. He can always give you a story about something, man. He has tons of story, tons of knowledge, man. He's just a great dude to be around, great dude to come work for every day. I couldn't ask for a better boss.
Jerome Smith here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios on the heels of Sean Tucker becoming the first 1,000-yard back at Syracuse since Jerome did it in 2012 with 1,171 yards. It was imperative for me to have Jerome on the show today and to celebrate bridging that gap and finally seeing it happen for the Orange is something I knew means a lot to Jerome and is something that he wanted to see. Rome, before I let you go, you wore number 45 at Syracuse. Did you wear 45 because you couldn't wear 44? I mean, did you want to be as close as possible? What's the story behind 45? And do you feel that you got to make 45 matter at Syracuse?
So I wore one in high school. I wore number 1 in high school, and the whole goal was to just be a little bit better than some of those people that wore 44. To chase that, to be able to be a little bit better than those guys that wore 44. Nothing wrong with those guys are obviously the GOATs and the legends, but as being a young guy, wanting to prove my point, wanting to make a splash, wanted to be one step ahead of those 44. And obviously, that had a reason you couldn't wear the number 44.
If they had offered you 44 at Syracuse, would you have worn it?
Who's to say they didn't offer it already, Dan? All right, so going into that last year, had a couple talks with the late, great Floyd and a couple other people over at the school, and it started to create a buzz on if I wanted to wear it. That was one of those things that I wasn't big on wearing it. I thought, man, I had so much respect for it. So much of our program was built off of the number 44, and man, I just thought leaving it up in the Raptors was the best thing for it. So it didn't become a me show. It came, it was an all-around team thing that we believed in number 44. And obviously I've had the chance to, sit and walk and talk with the late, great doggone Floyd Little, and having the opportunity to talk to Jim Brown and obviously be in the room with those guys. Man, I just had so much respect for it that, man, I just thought it should stay up in those Raptors. And I do think nowadays in college football and where it's going and kind of the things that Sean's accomplishing, I do think he's a guy that should be considered to wear it. But I do think it should be like some type of committee or some type of it's got to be some type of process to it.
I brought up in the Virginia Tech Syracuse post game with my guy Isaac Elford, who's co-hosting with me. I said that, in my opinion, and him and I were both in agreement on this, that there should be at least the representation on a committee for 44 of Jim Brown, of Ernie Davis's family, and probably Deborah Little, Floyd Little's wife. Would that make sense to you?
Absolutely. Because those dudes stood for some really great things, and man, like I said, as long as it's a process to it, and we look at it diligently, so we don't change the importance of the number 44 for our program and everything it stood for when I was there, and obviously moving forward, I think it should be a process to it.
So you were offered number 44.
Absolutely.
And how long? Bring me in. What was the process like for you? I want to know what did you have to go through? And when did they come to you? How did they come to you? And what was the process like?
It was going into the first year in the ACC. Obviously, it was just, Floyd would ask me, would I be interested? And, I had a couple other people talk to me, was it something I wanted to do? And if I'm not mistaken, there might be some news out on it. I'll send it to you. But, yeah, just ask me what I wanted to do. Obviously, school was taken care of. Obviously, I never had any off-the-field issues. I had anything that would blemish the 44 name and number. But it just got to a point, and I just said I didn't want to do it. So, obviously they stopped moving forward with it. And the next year I declared for the draft. So. But
you spoke with Floyd Little and Jim Brown about it.
Floyd, yes, sir.
And what did you take away? What did Floyd say? What did Jim say? Like, what was that experience like? Were you with them in person? Were you on the phone? I mean, obviously Floyd was there, but were you on the phone with Jim? Did you see Jim in person?
Me and Floyd was in person, and he asked me, did I want to wear the number? And he probably asked me maybe 3 or 4 times, maybe, and I gave the same answer every time. I just had so much respect for him, man. He was such a good dude, and call you, come sit down, come get a Pepsi out of my office. Come sit down and you drink a Pepsi with him and talk a little bit. But Yeah, that's as far as I let it go. I didn't want it to go any further. I was focused on the season and trying to get to a bowl game, and then obviously knowing I wanted to be a pro the next year. I didn't hold too much weight to it, but yeah, man.
What was it like with Jim Brown? Did you talk to him on the phone, or what was that like?
No, I actually hadn't had a chance to talk to Jim about it. Like I said, kind of me and Floyd, we kind of had those conversations and started to, then my name started getting a little bigger, started getting some preseason awards, so things started to pick up for me. And me and Floyd started having the talks about it. And then, the media kind of started to get into it, and people started to ask more questions.
So you wear number 45. Looking back on it, do you regret not wearing 44? Are you happy you wore 45? How do you see it?
No, I love the choice I made. Like I said, the number 44 wasn't about me. It was about our program. I truly believe that was everything we did, from our intro videos to the way our uniforms were at a 44-degree angle. That was the program. I didn't want it to be about me. I'm good. I enjoyed it. I love the number 45. Obviously, one of the greats that wore it before me, Art Monk, having a chance to hear and speak with him, and he's an NFL Hall of Famer. Obviously, him coming back and talking to the program, man, that makes you super proud of the number 45.
What did he say to you? Did he talk to you about it?
Zaire wore Art. He just let me know that was a great number I was wearing, and I'm gonna wear it with pride. And
you said obviously Zaire wore 45 too. What would it mean to you? Do you think like kind of paving that way? If a kid came up to Syracuse and said, "I want to wear 45 because Jerome wore it," and I I'm a running back and I want to show what I could do. What would that mean to you to have that? Because I was thinking about that with Sean Tucker. That what if he just keeps 34 and 10 years down the road some kid comes to Syracuse because he wants to be like Sean?
That would be awesome. That would be cool. And that's what it's all about, creating your own lane and legacy for what you left behind. And Zaire, obviously, Zaire was one of those kids, when he wore 45, he told me he wore 40. He let me know that he was going to be wearing 45 next year, and he was the next 45. I was excited for him. I was excited for him, man. Obviously, he moved on and got single digit on me. But it was pretty cool to have such a good football player like him come and wear the number after me.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful thing, and for you to be a part of this history, just to be regarded, like you said, it was about the program. You didn't want it to be about you. You respected those guys that came before you, the Floyd Littles, the Jim Browns, the Ernie Davises. To just be somebody that was offered that number, and knowing that we haven't seen it in so long, since Rob Conrad, I think back in '99, for you to be offered that so many years later, even though you didn't wear it, is the honor in being offered it, so to speak? You know what I mean? Like whether or not you wore it, but the fact that they would actually consider unretiring it for you. What weight does that hold to you that they even came to you and said, Jerome, you're worthy of it, in their opinion?
I think that's probably the most humbling part of it all, that you were even in the conversation of it. And that's the pretty cool part for me. I can always tell people, shoot, I was in the conversation for it. Whether you believe me or not, man, I was in the conversation for the same number as Jim, Ernie, and Floyd. So it's a tremendous honor, man. It's a really cool deal.
And if Sean was offered the number 44, to change his number from 34 to 44, what would you say if he called you, if he said, hey, Rome, you got offered this number, I just got offered this number, we're both 1,000-yard backs at Syracuse, we're the last two guys to do it, should I wear it? What would you say to him?
Do it. Do it. I think, like I said, during that time period, the 44 number and the legacy and how much of our program was built around 44, it would have kind of taken away from being a team player, in my opinion. But because their program because their uniforms aren't 44-degree angles anymore, those things aren't really the pregame or the intro video isn't about the number 44 anymore. I think it's totally different. I think he should. I think he's doing some incredible things. And like I said, being the first guy to 1,000 yards, these guys are winning big games in the ACC right now. The program needs it. I'll be excited for him. I hope he does.
Final point here. What's the best part of Sean Tucker's game? Being a running back, what do you love seeing him do on tape?
He is explosive through the line of scrimmage. One thing you see about him when he's going through the line of scrimmage, he's 1,000 miles an hour. He's 1,000 miles an hour. He can make cuts. He has really good feet. He can make cuts on a drop of a dime. He's a tough kid, man. He's a really good running back. I'm looking forward to watching him for the next few years.
That coming from Jerome Smith here in Syracuse Orange football history. Last player to get to 1,000 yards, 1,171 yards from scrimmage on the ground alone back in 2012. And now Sean Tucker with 1,060 and counting through 8 games. Rome, as always, I appreciate it. I thank you. And as I said in my post-game show, that man knows it, and he could share it with Sean, but I'm sure Sean knows the hay is truly never in the barn.
That's a fact. Never in the barn, brother.
I appreciate you, man, and I thank you so much. You and I will be talking this week and keeping in touch with each other, and I just want to say thank you for everything that you've been in my life. You're far more than a running back to me, and I appreciate you, and I thank you, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say let's see what Dak and them boys got to do coming up here out of the bye week. So
yeah, absolutely. Yes, sir.
All right, brother. Take care of yourself, and we'll talk soon. And congratulations on everything you've done and coaching now and all that you bring toward it. And I really hope that you and I get some FaceTime sometime here soon. It'd be great to see you.
Yes, sir. Can't wait.
All right. Take care.
All right, Dan.
See you. That coming from Jerome Smith once again here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. Offered the number 44. So Jerome knows what it's like. He can actually speak to it because it's happened, because he got the chance. So very, very cool and very much appreciate that. And there's going to be plenty to come from that because I'm going to have to share that with the world 10 times over, the conversation we just had. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, you will meet the newest members of the American Athletic Conference right after this, following their big news that happened on my birthday, which was really, really cool, and a birthday surprise I never thought I would get. Very excited to speak with you on UAB, Rice, North Texas, as well as FAU, UNC Charlotte, and UTSA right after this.
Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Knowing peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying. In the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. As a patient, what do we want? To be cared for, to be listened to, and to have someone walk us through the process on our path to victory. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics does all of those things beautifully, with Dr. Mark Petropoli leading the team on 791 West Genesee Street in Skaneateles, New York, located minutes from beautiful Skaneateles Lake. Whatever your injury may be from head to toe, preventative care, rehab, physical therapy, laser therapy, and surgery are all available at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, where they care about us, they listen to us, and they understand that everyone's path to victory is a little bit different. Let them help you on yours by calling 315-685-7544 to make your appointment today. That's 315-685-7544. And find out more information at victorysportsmedicine.com.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt here inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Cafe Kubal located on 3501 James Street, 208 North Townsend Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, as well as in downtown Syracuse at inside of Galisanos Children's Hospital, right there down the road from the Dome. And, of course, you can find them on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, and their newest location and first ever drive-through location at the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road in North Syracuse at Sweetheart Corners. So make sure you head out to Cafe Kubal today and warm yourself up, as it's a little bit chilly and it's pumpkin time. So you can get pumpkin spice chai, get any one of your coffees, as well as their delightful desserts and their breakfast sandwiches, as well as everything they offer throughout the day. And my favorite sandwich to get during the day, the Upstate. So make sure you go out and get that at any one of the Cafe Kubal locations today. It is my honor and my privilege to say that on my birthday, October 21st, the American Athletic Conference not only had some news, but some fantastic news that I'm so ecstatic about, so excited about, and so much looking forward to. I have seen the American go through so much. I've seen them have to struggle. I've seen them struggle in ways that other conferences, God willing, will never have to go through. And that pain of just trying to navigate through realignment in a way that was so so difficult. And seeing them go through everything that they've had to go through gives me more and more of an appreciation of all the work that they put forward and everybody working behind the scenes to help bring the American to life in the dissolving of the Big East for football, as well as keeping it alive. So, we go back to the 2012 time, we see Syracuse leave, we see Notre Dame leave in all sports except for football, because football, they're independent. We see Pittsburgh leave, and then eventually we see Louisville leave the year after that. And the American Athletic Conference is left with Temple, who was just reemerging, just coming back in, UConn, as well as South Florida and Cincinnati. Those were the schools that were left. And as I've said before, it would have been easy for Mike Oresco to just give up. It would have been easy for him to just say, you know what, we're done. It's not going to work out. We only have 4 schools. There's no way that this is going to happen for us. He could have laid down. He could have given up. He could have said that it was over. And he did the opposite. He built a conference out of nothing. And to do what he did, to get them to 12 for football, to get them to 12 for, men's and women's basketball, and then to just lose UConn recently and then find out that the Big 12, who I thought they could maybe take from, took from them instead, flipped the script and took Houston, took UCF, took Cincinnati, and Cincinnati and UCF, their 2 best football programs as of recent history, taking them away. What's the American going to do? They're left with 8 schools in football. And how are they going to navigate through this? They do have, teams that I respect and appreciate, and, that I consider them all notable for their own reasons throughout history. Some struggling now, but maybe didn't struggle a couple of years ago, and vice versa. But, my appreciation for SMU, for Tulsa, for South Florida, for East Carolina, Temple, Memphis, Navy, and Tulane, and then Wichita State for everything else outside of football, and what the Shockers have done throughout history, including making the 2013 Final Four with Louisville, Michigan, and Syracuse down in Georgia in the old Georgia Dome. So what were they going to do from here? How are they going to navigate? How are they going to resurrect? How are they going to rise again like a phoenix? It's one thing to ask this conference to rise once through everything that they had been through, but to rise again was asking them to do, to some people, what they considered the impossible twice. Yet they did it. They found a way. And it is my honor and my privilege to cover this conference, my honor and my privilege to see what they fought through to be where they are today. And so with that being said, I now proudly bring to you these wonderful 6 schools that have taken the American, who once was 3, and then was 4, and then was 12, but then was 11, and then was 8, but now is 14. Somehow, some way, the American Athletic Conference has risen to its biggest membership yet after being rated multiple times. And in such a big way, 2 times, they've found a way to resurrect not only once, but twice. So with that being said, I proudly welcome these opening addresses from each of the representatives that will be joining the American Athletic Conference as 6 schools find their way into a conference that I respect and appreciate so very much. So I start off the conversation sharing these from the press conference we had on my birthday. First one up, University of Alabama at Birmingham, who most of you know as UAB. The Blazers, Associate Vice President and Director of Athletics, Mark Ingram, in his opening address in joining the American Athletic Conference.
Certainly we're grateful for the opportunity and thrilled to be joining with the other 5 members who you've mentioned this morning, all great colleagues of ours and people we have a tremendous amount of respect for. I want to thank our president, Ray Watts, our chancellor, St. John, and our board of trustees who have been so incredibly supportive of all the work that we've done. We've had tremendous success here in Birmingham with our community, our community leaders, our city, our county. It's just been a fantastic renaissance here in the city of Birmingham, and we could not have done it without so many people behind us and supporting us. As you know, we have built or renovated 23 facilities in the last 6.5 years, culminating in our most recent project, which is Protective Stadium, where we now play football in what we consider to be the finest college football stadium in America. And so we're thrilled about the partnership and the opportunity to compete as an A6 member and join you, Mike. And so thank you again, and to your board of directors. We have had a plan to be successful, and we've told our student athletes many times that our intention is to provide the experience that they are receiving in athletics and have that match what they are getting in the classroom at UAB. And it's a fantastic institution, a world-class medical research university, and one that we're very proud of, and the city of Birmingham is proud of. So we appreciate this opportunity, and thank you.
That coming once again from Mark Ingram of UAB in his acceptance address. You could almost call it in the announcement that the University of Alabama at Birmingham, aka UAB, the Blazers, will be joining the American Athletic Conference in all ways as a full member. And that coming from the Associate Vice President and Director of Athletics, once again, Mark Ingram. Second up on the docket here is from Rice University, and I'm very proud to welcome to the show this opening address from Joe Carlgard, Director of Athletics, Recreation, and Lifetime Fitness at Rice, as Joe gave his opening address in association with joining the American Athletic Conference. And this is what Joe had to say about the Rice Owls becoming a part of the American.
It's great to be here with everybody today. Really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. Today is a great day for Rice Athletics. Since the breakup of the Southwest Conference 25 years ago, we've aspired to align ourselves with other institutions based on academic values, geography, and tradition. And the opportunity to join the American Athletic Conference checks all three boxes. We couldn't be more excited to join the current and new members, both in competition and collaboration. And the future is indeed very bright. I'd like to thank a few people for their contributions to today's historic announcement. From Rice, our president, David Lebron, whose engagement in this process and commitment to supporting our aspirations helped make this possible. The chair of our board of trustees, Rob Ladd, who communicated his excitement for our future to the conference leadership, and indeed our entire board of trustees and our athletics advisory group, who played a significant role in this as well. Our staff, our student athletes, our supporters who have worked every day to put us in position to accept this invitation. We are the 17th ranked institution in the country, according to U.S. News and World Report. We're a member of the Association of American Universities. We have one of the largest endowments in college athletics in FBS. And we've won 25 conference championships across 12 different sports over the last 8 years. So we think we bring a really well-rounded profile to the American Athletic Conference and will fit very well with the other 13 members. And then from the American Athletic Conference, I'd like to really thank Commissioner Oresco and his staff for their enthusiastic support and great communication. All of the athletic directors from the current AAC and those here with me today, I thank you for your commitment to excellence. And we look forward to working with you to build upon the terrific reputation of this conference.
And that coming once again from Rice University, as we hear from the director of university accepted, joining the American Athletic Conference as a full member back on my birthday, October 21st, and the opportunity that I now have to share with you in a full piece so you get to know each of these schools. Next up is North Texas. University of North Texas. Ren Baker, the Vice President and Director of Athletics. This is what Ren had to say in his opening address of joining the American Athletic Conference and being a part of its incredible history.
And on behalf of President Smotress, let me just say this is an exciting time for the University of North Texas. UNT has been on a continuous growth trajectory, and this is another step in that process. We are experiencing academic growth, over 42,000 students which is up 4% just this year. And we're one of the top largest public research institutions, R1 institutions in the country. We've also had tremendous athletic growth. 4 of our top 5 years in terms of winning percentage, when you look at all of our sports, have occurred just in the last 5 years. So we believe this is a great opportunity to join the American Athletic Conference, which clearly has established itself as a Power 6 conference. And we're so grateful to Commissioner Resco and to the ADs and the board of directors in the American for extending the invitation and giving us this opportunity. The American Athletic Conference is showing that it wants to invest in institutions who are willing to invest in themselves. And that is something we've prioritized at North Texas, and it's something that we'll be prioritizing as we make this transition. Lastly, just let me say I'm thankful to our donors and our fans. They've been so instrumental in helping UNT increase its profile in recent years, and we can't wait to start to make the transition, get a timeline established, and make sure that not only are we coming into a league with many accomplishments behind us, but that we have a transition plan that's going to allow us to come in and be immediately competitive and contribute to the history of success that's been established.
Very awesome to hear from North Texas there, and a fantastic address, as we've heard so many wonderful addresses this morning. Ren Baker giving his vice president and director of athletics from the University of North Texas, saying that the American has well established itself as a Power 6 conference, which I agree with. Next up that we have here, we have the other 3 schools, as we have 6 schools that are joined. I'm going to give you 3, take a fast break, and come back with 3 more. So coming up right after this fast break, I'll have the opportunity to share with you words from representation of FAU, Vice President and Director of Athletics Brian White. You also hear from University of North Carolina at Charlotte, UNC Charlotte's Mike Hill, who's the Director of Athletics, and Elisa Campos, the Vice President for Intercollegiate Athletics at the University of Texas at San Antonio, a.k.a. UTSA. That's all coming up on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora as we celebrate 6 schools who announced they're joining to the American Athletic Conference, joining the American Athletic Conference. Made that announcement on my birthday of October 21st. An awesome birthday gift that I had no idea I was getting. And I am so very happy that this morning I get to share words from their leadership as they get set to join one of the best conferences that I have ever seen in my history. People that I very much appreciate and respect, led by Mike Oresco, who has definitely been a huge part of a lot of the work that I've done over these last few years, and I appreciate him so much, as well as Bernadette, Chuck, and the entire team at the American Athletic Conference. We'll take a step aside for a fast break and be back with more addresses from the rest of the schools who made the decision to join the American.
Cafe Cabal Mobile Cafe brings the cafe experience to you. We'll roll out to your neighborhood or office, ready to serve our locally crafted espresso bar to our loyal patrons. Inquire at cafecubal.com. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the Whole Frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, located on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, is home to over 40 flavors with more than 200 flavors in their total wheelhouse. Sky's the limit for this sweet and savory Central New York company. Keep it local at your parties, fundraisers, wedding showers, baby showers, and more by calling 315-450-MA-PA. That's 315-450-6272 for popcorn bars with custom flavors and colors at your upcoming event. Make sure to visit them on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. And for more information, go to maandpazsnacks.com. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
Here at Progressive Dental, we understand the importance of regular dental visits and preventive care. Cleanings and checkups are essential to good oral health. We have multiple locations in the Southern Tier, so come visit us in Binghamton, Enwell, Kirkwood, Montrose, and Norwich. For self-pay non-insured patients, we offer the Smile Plan, which covers all of your cleanings, x-rays, and exams for an affordable yearly price. Call 607-754-2273 or 607-754-CARE to make an appointment today. For more information, visit our website at progressivedentalny.com.
The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every time. Make sure you make your way out there Tuesday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and on Sundays from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. as they are there for you with their general store, their drive-thru where you can grab your food and go right at the window, and their indoor dining. The Millhouse Market, second to none with their homemade breads, desserts, quinoa bowls, rice bowls, salads, brick oven pizzas, and the awesome sandwiches named after the families that helped to settle today's Pulaski. Ingrained in our community and ingrained in our taste buds, the Millhouse Market is truly a remarkable place nestled right here in upstate New York that you have to take the time to go out and see. 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York. Head out to the Millhouse Market. Worth the drive every single time. With that being stated, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life, we are here inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. And Cafe Kubal, located for you on 3501 James Street, as well as 208 North Townsend Street and 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, New York. And, of course, in downtown Syracuse, inside of Galisanos Children's Hospital, minutes from the Dome. And you can find them out in Manlius at 343 Fayette Street. And, of course, at their newest location and their drive-through location at the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road in North Syracuse, a.k.a. Sweetheart Corners. Inside these Cafe Kubal Studios, sharing with you the 6 schools that made the decision to join the American Athletic Conference. And for every single one of them, I think it'll be a good one, and I hope it will be, for each and every single one of these institutions. You've heard from representatives of UAB, Rice, and North Texas. It's now time to hear from FAU, Florida Atlantic University's Vice President and Director of Athletics, Brian White, and his thoughts of joining the American Athletic Conference for the FAU Owls.
Will echo the themes of my prior two colleagues. It seems like a theme of gratitude and excitement. So that's where we are. I have more than a few thank yous to run through here. First, I want to thank the president and athletic directors in the American Athletic Conference, as well as Commissioner Mike Oresco. Also, there are many that have contributed to our success at Florida Atlantic that have gotten us to this point. I want to start with our president, Dr. Kelly, our board of trustees, both current and former board of trustees members. We have an incredibly engaged, great board of trustees that really helps this university and helped us get to where we are. We have an extremely generous donor base and want to thank our donors in our community, the Paradise community, specifically the Schmidt family. Our current athletic coaches and staff. We have a great team at Florida Atlantic. I don't think I'd trade our group of coaches for any in the country. So just very grateful for the people we have on our staff, but also our prior coaches and staff. It's been we've built something special here at Florida Atlantic that we're all very proud of, and there's a lot of people that led into that. So I want to recognize my predecessor Pat Chun, as well as Lane Kiffin, and most importantly Coach Howard Schnellenberger. Built this program with very, very high ambitions, and I think ambition is something that is a theme here at Florida Atlantic University. There's many more that I'm sure I'm not going to get to, but then I want to transition to congratulate my fellow colleagues on this call. I know, as Mark mentioned, we all have a ton of respect for one another, and I'm just thrilled to know all of you. So congrats to my fellow colleagues, and like others have said, this is a tremendous opportunity for FAU for a number of reasons. In particular, I think what excites us most is we take very seriously. We all use the term front porch for athletics departments to be the front porch of the university and continue to help the university grow and be great. And we see the brand exposure within the American Athletic Conference as being a tremendous opportunity for an ever improving university. But also the academic profiles of the institutions in this league is something that's very exciting for us. Next, I would just say that, we FAU has a laundry list of things that I could read off to show how great of an institution we have become. I will just say that we have, by many metrics, we are the fastest improving university in the country, and we are the most diverse university in the state of Florida. We have one of the largest colleges of business in the state of Florida. We have a tremendous wealth amount of this community. I hear anecdotally, as many billionaires as any place in the world per capita. It's a really special place to be, and we are, like I heard Mike Hill say at Charlotte, our university is growing with our community and our athletic department as well, and vastly improving. We've had 2 conference championships in the last 4 years on a football front. We also have a very fertile recruiting ground, so we definitely think that we have a lot to bring to the table as well. But most importantly, we're just incredibly grateful to be on the call and very excited about this incredible opportunity. Thank you.
That coming once again from FAU, being excited about their addition to the American Athletic Conference, coming from Brian White, Vice President and Director of Athletics for the Owls. Next, coming up here in their acceptance of being one of 6 schools joining the American Athletic Conference to give them their largest space ever to have 14 schools when it comes to football. Incredible. All of these schools are going to be full-time members, and Navy, of course, is a football member only, and Wichita State is a member of everything but football. Everybody else is a full-time member, including these 6 schools coming in. Next here to have some time with is Mike Hill, Director of Athletics at the University of North Carolina at Charlotte. This is what Mike Hill had to say as representative of UNC Charlotte and the 49ers following the news that they will be joining the American Athletic Conference as well.
Thank you, and it's a pleasure to be here. And again, to echo Mark's remarks, it's wonderful to join our 5 colleagues here who have so much respect for. This is an exciting time for our institution and for our athletic program. And on behalf of our Chancellor, Dr. Sharon Gaber, and the chair of our board, Susan DeBoer, we just want to thank everyone who was involved in this process. We're grateful certainly to Commissioner Mike Oresco. Mike and I have known each other for a long, long time, back to our days when I was in the SEC at the University of Florida, and he was at CBS. And I've always admired the job that he has done and this league has done in constructing itself in a way that has been a major player on the competitive landscape, no question about it. So we're thankful for this opportunity. Charlotte is one of the fastest growing cities in the country, and this university mirrors our city. We talk about it a lot as an emerging brand in an exploding market. Our university is now the 3rd largest in the state, 2nd largest undergraduate enrollment. And during the pandemic, we have set enrollment records. We've had record freshman classes the last 2 years. We have over 30,000 students now. 80,000 alumni live within an hour of the city, and 150,000 living alumni. So this is an institution that is on the rise. It's the fastest growing in the state. Over the past decade, it's been responsible for almost 40% of the entire UNC system growth and enrollment. So we feel that our athletic program is mirroring the growth of our institution academically and represents all that this place is about. We talk often here at Charlotte about gold being the standard. We're 49ers, and gold is the standard here. And we feel that this affiliation with the American is certainly going to elevate our program and provide a platform for us that we can really tell our story and allow our student athletes to compete at the highest level. And we're just grateful for that opportunity. So thank you again for the opportunity.
And that coming from Mike Hill again, saying thank you again for the opportunity there, as the University of North Carolina at Charlotte has made the decision to join the American Athletic Conference as a full member, and one of 6 schools that decided to join the conference there. That coming from the Director of Athletics, Mike Hill. And finally, last but not least, Lisa Campos, Vice President for Intercollegiate Athletics at the University of Texas at San Antonio, aka UTSA, gives her thoughts on bringing the Roadrunners into the American Athletic Conference.
I don't know if it's easier or hardest to go last, but want to echo the sentiments. Today is a great day, and we could not be more happy to be celebrating this wonderful news today. Like the others, I would like to take an opportunity to thank Dr. Amy, the UTSA president, for his unwavering support of UTSA athletics and really understanding the importance of athletics and what it can do to an institution. Also want to acknowledge our athletic staff, our coaches, and especially our over 350 student athletes who have really believed that UTSA will be San Antonio's nationally recognized Division I program, and they continue to work very hard day in and day out to make that a reality. As you can imagine, this has been a very exciting and busy development. And like the others, would like to recognize and thank Commissioner Mike Oresco for the way you've led this, for the way you've communicated through this. It's been great getting to know you, and look forward to working with you, the rest of the staff at the American, and the other ADs. Since I arrived at UTSA almost 4 years ago, I recognized that we were something very special was happening, not only with athletics, but also with the university. We are a very young institution, and we are a very young athletics program, but we have accomplished much. Let's just take a look at our football program that is only 11 years old. We've appeared in 2 bowl games. We are ranked 24th in the nation. So just imagine what the next 11 years will look like for UTSA. We share with the American our bold strategy for improving our athletic facilities, beginning with our $40.5 million athletic center of excellence that we just opened in August, and there's definitely more to come. Just like the others, we're really excited for the opportunity that by joining the American, we will continue to raise our academic and athletic profile while continuing to build a strong national brand. Of course, through the television agreement, we will increase our visibility and our exposure. And it was really important to maintain a strong presence in Texas, where most of our alumni reside, and where we not just recruit student athletes, but also recruit the general student population. I do want to just mention briefly a little bit about UTSA as an institution. We are committed to excelling in all that we do. And the aspects of our growth and momentum match what's happening with the rest of the institution. We just recently launched our largest comprehensive campaign in program history. We are a very proud Hispanic serving institution where we recruit dreamers and doers ready to change the world. And as San Antonio's largest university in the 2nd largest city in Texas, we are home to over 35,000 students. We look forward to welcoming our new partners to San Antonio, which is Military City, USA, and is very much known as an NCAA championship city. So again, thank you so much to Mike and to the board for recognizing and believing in UTSA and the value that it will bring to the American Athletic Conference. Thank you.
And that coming once again from Lisa Campos of the University of Texas at San Antonio, aka UTSA, as their Vice President for Intercollegiate Athletics. I want to thank Lisa Campos, Joe Carlgard, as well as Joe Carlgard of Rice, Ren Baker of North Texas, Brian White of FAU, Mike Hill of UNC Charlotte, and Mark Ingram of UAB for taking time with us this last few days to speak on the decision to join the American Athletic Conference, which I'm very honored that each of these schools have made the decision to do, and I think it'll be a great decision. So with that being said, truly happy about what's to come, including coming up this week, you will get from this call that we had with the schools and with the American Athletics Commissioner, Mike Oresco, you'll get Mike's response to my question to him, as well as Ren Baker of the University of North Texas and Lisa Campos of the University of Texas at San Antonio, giving their thoughts to me. So excited for the first time ever to speak with Lisa Campos and speak with Ren Baker, and of course excited to have Mike Oresco once again. And then later on this week, on Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, Mike Oresco, the Commissioner of the American Athletic Conference, will be joining me for a far more extensive conversation on the addition of these 6 schools, of the schools that are leaving, and of the ever-changing world of collegiate athletics, and to dive even deeper into the current happenings of the American Athletic, including bringing in the schools UAB, UNC Charlotte, FAU, North Texas, Rice, and UTSA, and why they truly are the perfect fit for the next chapter of the American Athletic Conference, and so on and so forth. So excited for all of that coming up this week. We'll take a step aside for our final fast break inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios and wrap things up for you from here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora right after this. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville beats. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also, I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level, is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career, it's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Happy to be here with you on Wake Up Call on Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT, Facebook.com/LiveNowDT, and on YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT. Also listening to us on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT and on the homepage of WakeUpCallDT.com. So thank you so much for connecting with us, however you connect with us, every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. I truly appreciate it so very much. And of course, once the show goes live, you can check us out in our archives. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on Stitcher, TuneIn, Podbean, iHeartRadio, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and MixLR by searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. And a proud thanks to all of our Central and Upstate New York partners, Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Mon Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, Progressive Dental, Avacoles, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Pizza Man, the Lemoyne College Dolphins, Millhouse Market, Honda City of Liverpool, PB&J's Lunchbox, Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, and Mother's Cupboard. And of course, we are proudly the multimedia marketing partner, the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of the Lemoyne College Dolphins. And we ask you to make sure to go to LeMoyneDolphins.com to get more information. You can also go to the Lemoyne tab on WakeUpCallDT.com for all of our past shows, AD and DT, as well as Dolphin Dive, and our special with the president of Lemoyne College, Linda Lemura. And you can check all of that out at the Lemoyne tab on WakeUpCallDT.com, and more information on the Lemoyne Dolphins, of course, on their website, LeMoyneDolphins.com. Wake Up Call is also the multimedia marketing partner of the Marywood University Pacers. Pacer Pride can be found every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And in the month of October, where we started officially our multimedia marketing partnership back on October 1st, you had the opportunity of getting to know Executive Director of Athletics Pat Murphy a little bit better. And on the heels of the men's and women's basketball seasons getting started off with practice on October 15th, you got to see Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora live on site, on location, sitting in the Hall of Fame room with women's basketball head coach Jen Carlton, as well as men's basketball head coach Enrico Mastriani. Find out more from the Marywood Pacers at MarywoodPacers.com, and of course by going to the Marywood tab on WakeUpCallDT.com that will have our special with Enrico Mastriani, Jen Carlton, Pat Murphy, as well as the composite schedule for all games coming up and everything going on with the Marywood Pacers. This has been Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You are awesome, incredible, and remember your worth. Folks, everybody has worth. Everybody was made from God, and everyone is a truly special gift to this world. Love yourself, love each other, and be good to each other. I thank you so much for watching and listening today. I want to thank my incredible guests of Rob Drummond and Jerome Smith. I want to congratulate Sean Tucker on 1,000 yards once again, being the first to do it since 2012 when it was done by the incredible Jerome Smith, and paving his way with his own number like the incredible Rob Drummond. I also want to give a big shout out and a big thanks to all of the wonderful schools that are joining the American Athletic Conference. Once again, giving many, many thanks to all of the wonderful people that had the opportunity to join and made the decision to do so and joined us for their opening addresses. Mark Ingram, the Associate VP and Director of Athletics at UAB. Mike Hill, the Director of Athletics at UNC Charlotte. Brian White, the Vice President and Director of Athletics at FAU. Ren Baker, the Vice President and Director of Athletics at North Texas. Joe Carlgard, the Director of Athletics, Recreation, and Lifetime Fitness at Rice. And Elisa Campos, the Vice President for Intercollegiate Athletics at the University of Texas at San Antonio, aka UTSA. Have a fantastic day, folks. Find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. And of course, always on WakeUpCallDT.com and on YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT. God bless. No stress. Do your best. I appreciate you all. And